Yes, guys, welcome back to the Winning at Life podcast. In this podcast, we want to inspire, motivate, we want to talk about health, we want to improve your health, we want to make you take action and improve your life, essentially. Now, this is a client interview. First one, maybe second one that I've done. Yes, Ross, how's it going, mate?
All good, mate.
Ross got pretty lean, very shredded, actually, with us and did a beach shoot in Dubai. Ross is a business owner, entrepreneur that lives in Dubai as well. So we're going to be talking, health, business, the penny drop moment, the struggles, everything that he's been through and where we're at right now, mate. So yes, fella, how's it going?
All good, mate. Yeah. Been a minute, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been a minute. You actually did it a couple months ago, but we wanted to do this a few months ago. I went straight to Miami, went off on one dinner, and then obviously come back, and now we're back in work. But you're still in shape, which is the most important
Still in shape,
thing.
mate. Yeah, like I was 86. I was looking real shit. Didn't feel good. Obviously, I'm one of those guys where I've been in really good shape before. So I thought, I know what I'm doing. I was just sort of got into this zone where just going to the gym, eating what I want. And then, I looked in the mirror, I was like, what the fuck's going on? But managed to, we'll talk about it in a sec, but yeah, managed to hold my weight down. So I got down to 73, so lost like 12, 13 kg. And I'm holding 77 now. So,
Yeah.
And that was one of the things with getting coached by you was the fact that you also get taught, like I learned a lot from the process while doing it.
Yeah, because you've done programs before, which we'll dive into. What was the specific moment where you went, nah, I'm actually getting help here? Because most guys don't start right because of ego. Like, I know what I'm doing. He's going to tell me what I already know. What was the point where you went, nah, actually, I'm going to get help?
I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, when you just get that moment where you think, what has happened here?
Yeah.
And it was like that penny drop moment where I was just looking at myself and, I could see, for me, it's like fitness comes into overall life, right? So it's like, it also plays a huge factor in mentality.
Yeah.
And I was in a time when, I think everything in my life, business, relationships, just general feeling and motivation and everything was going downhill and probably hit like I'd say close to like a rock bottom in some aspects.
Okay.
And that was when I was like, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
I need to make a change because, I've done it all before. I've been in really good shape and I remember the feeling of being there, being like physically, mentally strong and everything else around you, has a huge impact. Makes a massive difference in every single day.
Yeah.
And that was the moment where I dropped you a message like, yo, Keaton,
Yeah. 100%.
sort me out.
Yeah, because we actually knew each other for a couple of years on it, so I'm guessing it was a no-brainer when you kind of knew you needed that help.
Yeah, I think I know a lot of coaches, and the reason I'd say why I went for you is because I was watching. Like first of all, like obviously I know you as a person, you're my mate, but it wasn't even that. Like I've got other mates who do it, and I think for me it was you understood the game. You wasn't someone, and I actually did something where I asked you because I know a lot of PTs and my mates have gone to him. First thing they say is get on steroids. So I actually asked you, and I was like, should I go on steroids? And you was like, no way. And I knew, and that was like, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, there's the easy way, which even with steroids, it's still a hard process, right?
Yeah.
Or there's the hard way where you've just got to go strip everything back, sort your diet out, sort your fitness,
100%.
and do that. And that was a good test where I was like, this guy's legit.
Yeah. 100%. I'm like, mate, you're eating shit every day. Like, let's fix that. You don't need to think about the drug side. Like, you're not a bodybuilder getting on stage. You're a normal guy trying to run a business, trying to, function cognitively very well on a day-to-day. There is easy fixes there. And a lot of guys' biggest issue is that's what they turn to straight away, and that fucks them head up even more.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing. They're not getting professional help. Like if you go to your mates or if you go to the regular guy in the gym, that's exactly what he'd say. When you go to a professional who's been there, done that without the drugs and helped other people do it without the drugs, then it's just so clear to me, like, mate, you don't need drugs. You need this. So what you're saying was you started because the one thing of your health, low energy, poor confidence, you know, not keeping your own promises, that was actually flooded into every other area of your life?
Yeah, I'd say it was affecting my relationship. I'd say I wasn't performing as best as I could when it came to work, family, friends, waking up and, you know, not having that strong desire. Like I moved out to Dubai where, you know, to separate myself from, you know, from the life back at home. Just solely focus on business, you know, making connections out here. And one part of the thing when I moved over was like, you know, I'm going to get in good shape. Like the access you've got to the gyms over here, like everything's different than back at home. Like you go to a gym here on a Saturday night, it's rammed. You go back at home, it's dead. So like I thought that would, you know, all come into play, and then you know, things get busy, life takes over, and then it was that moment where, you know, I've just been letting it slip, and you know, I think most people, and you know, I've experienced this, and this is what I was experiencing, was you get into this place where, you know, you get comfortable, and you're like, oh, you know, I'll eat this dessert, or I'll miss this training day, it won't matter, or, you know, I'm not going to get up and go and do my morning run, like I'll do it in a few days. And then all these excuses start compounding, and then next minute, you know, you're a few months down the line, and you're looking at yourself like, where did I go wrong?
Yeah, I think like the little battles that you have yourself, like I'll start on Monday, or I'll do that run tomorrow. Every promise that you break to yourself, your belief in yourself drops a little bit more, and your confidence level drops. And then when I'm low confidence in my physique, and when I say I'm going to do something and don't follow through, that again, like anything that I say I'm going to start, I don't even believe in my own and I'm going to follow through with it. So do you think like getting that accountability and just someone to make you do the thing at the start was important?
Yeah, I think the accountability for me was the biggest thing. It's like, and this is where I think, you know, you really excel with in terms of coaching, like, you know, messages every day. And I'm like, you know, sometimes I'm feeling it. What have you had last night? I'm like, yeah, I've been all right. What are you training today? But it's those little check-ins, and it's those like, you know, you've signed up to this, you're paying for this. You know, you're an idiot if you don't follow through with it. And if you just, you know, and if you go start slipping up here and there, making excuses, because and I did it, like, and Afro would say this, like, sometimes I made excuses like, yeah, I ate good last night when I didn't, or like, you know, stuff like that. And when you look back, when I'm looking back, or like, you're thinking, why did I even do that? Because once you start doing it, it becomes the norm then. So yeah, it's about, you know, holding yourself accountable, not making shitty excuses, and just following through with the stuff. But that was something you know, massively helped with as well.
100%. I feel like, you know, imagine I didn't ask you them questions. What fucking type of coach would it be? And there's genuinely coaches out there that would be like, once a week, you might have a check-in point, you might have a bit of a video. There's 100 problems that weren't fixed by that. And it's like, I send you them videos, and yes, it's repetitive. Them messages on the day-to-day. Yes, it's repetitive. Yes, I'm asking you very simple questions. But them questions being asked make you think, fuck, I've got to go and do that today. I can't keep lying.
It's like being back in school and the teachers asking you done your homework. But like sometimes I think that's what you need. Like, you know, I know I can go and train. I know I can eat well. I think, you know, one of the biggest problems is when you're so busy with everything else. Like for some reason, you know, I think probably everyone's been guilty of this. You'll put your fitness to the side, but I think, you know, your fitness, health, well-being, or whatever should be the number one priority.
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation of everything, right? So like, you know, I think it's just natural we slip up and make excuses for that. But I think if people focused on that more, then everything around them would be better. And like you said, it's the foundation for everything.
When was the point during a plan, and maybe what part of the plan was, when did you feel like, now something's changing inside of me, I'm going to follow through with the full thing? Yeah,
I'd say the start of the plan was, because I noticed a difference very, very quickly, because like for me, I was thinking, right, before I actually messaged you, I was getting on these you know, doing these runs, doing sprints, going on, you know, a few runs a week, bike or whatever. And then he was like, no, you know, strip all that back. I obviously didn't know about information. Should like just start with a walking, and I was like, this is like walking and train 4 times a week.
Almost too eeasy.
I was thinking this, you know, so I'm going backwards here. And then, you know, 2 weeks in, lost a bit of weight. And then I had that period like you do where you sort of you don't see any progress for a bit, and that's where it's sort of like you don't not see any progress, but it doesn't move as fast as initially. And that was the time when it's like, you know, is this working? And then that's the time where you got to really stick to it. And then I think, you know, when you've got a date setting, like, right, you know, you need to be ready by this date. Maybe it's in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's when you really like sort of funnel in. And, you know, I think I noticed a huge difference. I'd say, how long was we doing it? Maybe 3 or 4 months, was it?
Yeah.
Last 2 months was the big difference. Like the flat starting to go. Yeah, daily changes. And then especially on that last month and last few weeks, it was just flying off. But I felt amazing from it.
This is where you mentioned something like that middle part. So when you joined, you're like, right, very optimistic, and then you realise, shit, I've got to make some sacrifices here. You end up in this place called Valley of Despair, and this is where 90% of people actually quit. But once you break through that Valley of Despair, like, start to get the ball rolling again, you realise little behaviours that you've got, because it's all about behavioural change, right? And sometimes you don't even realise what you're doing. Like you mentioned before, you was lying, you actually ate a bit shit the night before. But you're telling yourself you're working mega hard, and people don't realise that. But once you kind of just keep pushing by blunt force, you keep going, you end up breaking through that. And then you enter, you know, informed optimism, where you know the sacrifices, but you know what you've got to do, and you also see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then you just go all the way. And
I think that's the transition from, you know, you start a training course with you, or, you know, a coaching with you. You're highly motivated.
Yeah.
So it's like, it becomes easy. It's like, I'm going to smash this diet. I feel amazing. Get to the weekend, you know, have a really good weekend, get back in the training for the week. And then, you know, then it becomes, there's a transition from your motivation goes, and that's when sort of discipline steps in and plays the part. And that's probably why you lose so many people, because when it comes down to it, people are not willing to sacrifice things and not willing to be disciplined. And I think that's the, you know, like you said, if 90% of people quit, then that's the 10% who actually understand that you need to be massively disciplined and hold yourself accountable, and actually do what you say you've got to do.
100%. And you also mentioned stripping back. So one of the biggest problems I see, especially in men, is they'll start a plan and they think they've got to do 7 training sessions a week, hours of cardio on top of that, and they're like, I need my calories lower, I want my calories lower, this and that, where it's like, you actually just started from a nice baseline. And I'm guessing that first few weeks, you didn't even feel like you were dieting. Your energy was high. You was eating out once a week. Like, how did you find, like, we trying to make every plan as easy as we possibly can for that person, as long as we possibly can?
Yeah, I think one thing that you guys do is you build it into, like, you can massively tell you don't have the same plan for every single person, because as part of the pre-process before signing up, you know, you understood my life. Like, I work from home. You know, maybe I'd stuff in the cupboard, you know, get rid of them. Like, making these small changes, but making it very personalized for myself was a massive help. I think it's, I forgot the question now.
So did I.
I think I just took it off.
So did I. What did I ask you now? Mish, do you remember?
It was something about the day-to-day changes. I can't actually remember now.
No, so like stripping it back. So people that go all in, like, how did you find the flexibility of the plan, like making it fit in your life as easy as possibly could?
So that's it. I think what people would expect, right, I've got to sign up to a course. Like, you might love dessert. I love desserts.
Yeah.
You know, you might love desserts. Like, you know, it's not going from one extreme to another. It's about understanding, right, you know, through the week, no desserts, maybe one treat on the weekend.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like getting you used to the process, but there's got to be a point where everything's removed and you've got to stay focused on the plan. So I don't think, you know, you, especially with you, it's like, it wasn't 0 to 100. It's building it into your daily routine. It's getting you used to sort of this structure. And then it's stripping things. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the last 2 or 3 weeks, mega hard. It's like, a diet is a form of restriction. A diet is controlled starvation. So in the end, you're gonna feel restricted. You're gonna feel deprived. However, like, trying to be all in at the start, high cardio, low food, nothing sweet, nothing enjoyable, you're gonna last 2 weeks and then it's game over. Was you in that cycle beforehand, would you say?
Yeah, I was in a similar cycle. I actually, like, weirdly enough, like the last few weeks, I quite weirdly enough enjoyed it, because like the daily like changes
was easier.
And like, there was times where you had no energy, but there was times where I had the high energy, and I just, you know, it's weird to describe if you've never been through it, but like, I just felt extremely good. Like, even a few weeks before that, like, randomly decided to do a marathon.
Yeah,
He was like, obviously I'm not supposed to be eating too many carbs, but it was like stuff like that. Like I had made to do like what I wanted to do for the year, get in the best shape of my life. I was on the way to do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to run a marathon. I've done maybe half a marathon once.
Yeah.
No training, just
went
and did it on a Saturday morning, and like it was stuff like that, and that should show like, the sort of the change in mindset that I'd say you feel invincible.
You feel ready.
Yeah, you feel ready for anything.
Ready for anything. It's mad. And because you're practicing that resilience every day, something comes up at work that's pretty difficult to deal with, or like you feel a little bit emotional about something, it's just easier to get over straight away. Whereas when you're eating shit, you're tired anyway, you're fatigued, you're in poor health, you've not challenged your body in that day, that emotion just feels 10 times worse when you feel like shit anyway, doesn't it?
100%, mate, 100%.
So let's talk about the now, mate. How has it changed your daily life at this point? Performance at work, relationship, confidence, because we live in Dubai, right? We want to feel confident on the beach. How has it actually changed your life?
Yeah, massively. Starting on relationships, I think that's massively improved. Because I think one part of fitness is, and I like getting it out of the way in the morning. So I got into a routine before I've been away and stuff where I joined a few running clubs, joined the Formula, which was doing twice a week, 6:30 in the morning, going for runs, have a coffee, go and do my workout. So like when you achieve things like I get it out in the morning, especially me, I'm not a morning person, but I'm a much nicer person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So relationships was better. Work, I was, a lot more focused, a lot more productive, disciplined. Like I work a lot anyway, but like, it massively affects everything. Like, like I said, it'll always come down to this is the fitness, feeling good. You start with the physical, that trickles into the mental, that trickles into everything. It's the foundation for everything. So, when I see people who, might be going through a tough place right now and they're not exercising or they're not, focusing on fitness and eating well, because like training, it's like, I'd say there's a split in there, like 8% food, 20% training, whatever. So you've got to combine those both. And when people are struggling and they're not focusing on these two, then that's the sort of reason why. I'm not saying it's going to be the fix for everything, but it all sort of stems from that. So yeah, I'd say it massively improves absolutely everything.
Yeah. So how was the confidence switch happen? Because obviously you looked at yourself in the mirror and thought, shit. How has that affected you, like, on a day-to-day living in Dubai as well?
Yeah, mate, I was training at TKMMA. I wouldn't take my top off, but now the sun comes
top off, yeah. It's a bit too hot now, but you still find the excuse.
Well, no, mate, it massively boosts confidence. Like, not just in the way you look, just as you are in a person. I'd say there's, again, every aspect, it boosts your confidence. You feel better, you look better. You're mentally prepared for anything. Like, it plays a massive part on your confidence. Confidence
breeds confidence, right? So it's like if you're confident with your physique, who you are, like you're like, no, I can follow through with this. When you're closing a big deal for business, breeze. You're confident you're going to close because you walk in the room with your chin a little bit higher, your chest a little bit higher. You're a little bit more inviting. You're a little bit more easier to speak to because you're not fighting fatigue. You're not fucking, you didn't do that thing you should have done before, and now you're catching up and it just all rolls into one, doesn't it? And people don't realise that. People think that, they're joining to get a six-pack, which you did. You got a silly six-pack. But it's like people think it's for that. It's not. It's to change your life as a whole, mate. Yeah. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, like you said, you walk into a room, you feel good. You're speaking to people, there's a different type of energy around you. Like, I'm not a morning person. I was training with Lewis in the mornings, and like these formula runs, like you're full of energy because you're confident, you're getting up, you're getting things done, you're staying disciplined. When you're doing all this, then you get, again, the motivation comes and goes. But in my business, I'm speaking to clients, I'm landing, closing deals or whatever, like everything, sort of changed. And that's something I noticed, that people noticed that around me as well. Like, you might be a better person to be around. Like, you've got this new form of like energy when it comes to the business and driving things forward. So yeah, I 100% agree with that.
What's the biggest, like, if you could pick out one lesson that you've learned, what's the biggest one?
That's a good question. I think the biggest lesson, I'd say that for me, like, I knew everything that what I set out to do was achievable.
Yeah.
I think there is, like I said, with that confidence, there is nothing that I can't possibly do when I put my mind to it.
Yeah.
I think this just made me realize that again, and just made me, it made me appreciate the little things. It made me just turn up and get things done. It made me dedicated to everything around me. And I think once you start letting, because obviously as soon as I did my fitness, I had my hair done. So I went training for 3 weeks and went back to England. But even then, I'm like, right, I would watch out my diet, get back onto it. Yeah. So I think like the biggest lesson for me is just, that anything's possible, and when you put your mind to it. And I think you've just got to start with making sure the fitness and discipline is there.
So you just kind of rediscovered who you are again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that you're not like talking about, oh, it was this amazing training program, or it was this amazing diet plan. Like that doesn't fucking matter. It's the day-to-day habits, your decision making, and you make sure you're just going in that general direction.
Yeah, to be fair, I will talk about the training program and the diet, because obviously that was it's the whole part of it. Like, I went into the gym thinking, I know what I'm doing. Maybe this exercise, even like, I think I've been training, probably like since I was 16. So like over 10 years now. I got in really good shape when I was 18, 19, and then sort of life took over, sort of just been up and down. Yeah. And when I really look back at it for the last few years, there's been fucking minimal change. And it's like, then I got into the training program, and it's like, okay, you don't need to train 6 times a week. You're going to do 4. You're going to do upper, lower, push, pull, whatever. And then also the form, because one thing you do is provide a video with everything. And, for someone like me, or someone who you think you know everything because you've been to the gym, you really, really don't. Yeah. And this is where, you're a professional at what you do. Yeah. You spent time researching, making sure you know exactly what everything is and how to do it properly. And that was one massive element, was I need to slow down these reps. I need to mix up my exercise. I need to group things together. I need to actually take a step back. Like, what's the first thing you think of when you're in shape? Oh, I need to do more. Sometimes it's not. Yeah. And then it's the diet, right? It's like, I enjoy the desserts, but like, it's like finding sweet or like alternatives. Like, for example, you might always order a cookie or whatever. In fact, have you tried the Greek yogurt, the dark chocolate, the frozen blueberries? Big winner for me. And it's like making these small changes which compound make a huge difference. So like the training program and the diet was obviously the biggest factor of it all. But yeah, like when it comes to everything, it's just I'd say it's the way it makes me feel. But I've stuck to the diet, like the more like the meals, they make me feel good. I think the one thing is when it comes to diet, is what you put into your body has a massive impact on how you feel. Yeah. When you're eating pasta for your lunch, you're going to feel sluggish. You're going to crash off. Yeah. When you're eating just real healthy whole foods, I can tell the difference. Like I've my first breakfast now, mince, avocado, tomatoes, and I fucking love it. You had told me that a few years ago, but like, I want to eat that. And I can tell like it massively boosts my energy, and I don't come crashing down. 100%. So like it's those little changes which you brought to the table.
You also like found what worked for you, because if you wanted a croissant, I say, yeah, mate, have the croissant, but this is the effect. This is how you're going to feel. This is what you need to do around that. So it's like there was never any restriction where you had to eat, but you ended up choosing what you wanted to eat because that's what worked best for you in terms of energy, blood sugars, not crashing, and mental focus as well, which is important for you. So it seems like now, you choose when you want the dessert. You are not feeling forced to have a dessert every night because it's there. Do you know what I mean? You choose when you want it. You choose when it's going to serve you. But on a day-to-day, you're not eating for kind of, just constant fixes of dopamine and pleasure. Yeah. You're actually eating to make sure you're performing at your best, you feel your best, and you're the best type of person to be around at that point. Isn't it?
I think some people get put off with coaching because they think they've got to give up everything. Like, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I want to look good. I want to feel good, which is the most important. I want to be in shape. I want to be able to, if I want to go and do a marathon this weekend, do it at a good time and not be fucked. Like, I want to train hard because it makes me feel good. Like, but you don't need to cut out everything. Like, I still have desserts here and there. I just go out the weekend, have like a nice food. But I think for now, I think one thing I'm trying to do is have this sort of 80% 20 rule. Yeah. Like, 80% of the time, I'll eat really good. And I know that it has these massive benefits. 20% of the time, you know, I'll treat myself and I'll eat this and that. And I think, you know, obviously with the coaching, what I wanted to do is I wanted like, and from what you said, there's just hardcore 3 or 4 month plan, and you need to get to this specific goal. You need to be at your, you know, lowest body fat where you feel good, shredded, you know, looking extremely good. And that was the goal that I set out to do. So at that point, yeah, I've got to strip everything back, especially in the last you know, 6 weeks or whatever. But going through that and experiencing that, I think teaches a lot about yourself and what you're actually capable of doing.
100%. And then it's like, you know, you were speaking to me on your shoot day when we went in the gym, new business ventures, new ideas that you've got. Like, you wouldn't have the confidence and the resilience to go and do that and take that step and to take that risk if you didn't already take the risk with joining a program, paying for a program, following through with it. Is it going to work? Because you've gone through that, now you're, what's the next goal in my life? What's the next step? And then, you know, that's going to open doors for you in the future, mate. So
I think so, yeah.
How did it feel, the photo shoot?
The photo shoot was, it was, I really enjoyed it, to be fair.
I know you did.
Do you know what made me laugh was when the first time I did it, he was like, "You fucking definitely been practicing
You've been
this."
practicing that shoulder, mate.
You've definitely been practicing this.
There was
no,
no
I mean,
smile.
like, mate, like at the end of the day, like, you know, I worked really hard for that. You know, I don't think there was a time when I wanted to give up, because like, I think when I set myself something to do, I'm going to do it. There was times where, I was struggling with it and I slipped up, and when I slipped up, you know, I'd be kicking myself because at the start, it'd always fall on the weekend. And then when I started making those changes, but yeah, the photo shoot was good because, you know, I set out for the goal, I hit the goal, you know, I probably got lower because when you said 73 and I was thinking, mate, I'm 86 now, like, I don't think I've got that much to lose. I was thinking that seems a bit way off, but yeah, man, I enjoyed it. I think it's good to have sort of, I wouldn't say an end goal as such, because you want to sort of maintain it, but have something there which I achieved it. We did the photo shoot. I seen the difference, and then we went out and
we went out and you backdoored it.
We had a great day
though. That was a really funny day. I mean, George was rough the next day. He didn't say a word.
I remember George was saying to me, he's like, there was times where like I wanted to quit, and I think it can be like a natural thing for most people. But yeah, like I'd say, like I just didn't, like, you know, I was so zoned in on what I wanted to do that I knew
it comes in zigzags, mate. Like, people think it's going to be a straight line to where you want to get to, and people have a dip and then they'll quit, and I'm like, well, what's plan B now then? You go back to doing what you was doing, which wasn't working.
Loads of my friends have done it. Loads of people honestly, I know have signed up for something, done it for 2 months, started seeing the effects, and then they'll fall off. You know, and they might go out on the weekend, they might have a week where they don't go to the gym, and then it's like they'll just throw it away, and
it's odd.
It's just a waste. It's a waste. And I think I don't know. I think it comes down to, I think there's a certain type of mentality. Is like, I read something actually when I wanted to read out. Let me find it. And I think this will probably it was like, I really liked it when I read it, and it was 1 second.
Better not be shit now.
No. It was this positive occasion or whatever, this Twitter page, and it says, "You're tired." You go, "That's the point." It's lonely. That's the point. It's not fair. That's the point. It's uncomfortable. That's the point. I feel like giving up. That's the point. No one sees it. That's the point. It takes time. That's the point. And it's like, you know, everything that you're supposed to do, everything should challenge you, because you know, it should propose that alternative view, and like, it breaks you down to rebuild you, it tests your patience, your focus, your reasons, but you get stronger by pushing through what most people run from. And I thought that was quite a good summary. I actually seen that in bed last night, and I thought that makes, you know, it made a lot of sense.
I've got one for you.
What?
You don't avoid the storm, you learn to dance in the rain.
You bugs him alone.
But it's like, like, stop avoiding the, you know, the again, here's another one. The magic is in the shit that you're avoiding.
The one I like is nobody cares. Like, and there's been so many times where I'm like, oh, you know, this is so fucking hard. Like, even the last few weeks, like, in everything that's my business and thingy and everything, have been extremely difficult. And I'm like, oh, this is not fair. You know, I failed this. The reality of it is, no one cares. No one will possibly care about you.
No
like,
one cares.
And like, when you just sort of get to grasp with that, like, it sort of makes you think, like, You've just got to get on with it.
So like you're struggling, right, and you're feeling really sorry for yourself, right? If you zoom out to space and you see planet Earth, who gives a fuck about how you're feeling? Like who gives a fuck? But at the end of the day, right, you're very important to you, and you feel the unconfidence, you feel the sadness, you feel the fatigue. Your business might be crashing down because of that fatigue. Your relationship might be being detrimented. Only you are experiencing that. So it's down to you to go and change that, no matter what it takes.
I think from my experience in the last few weeks, I think the easy route would have been, feeling sorry for myself. Oh, this has failed with my business, so I'm not going to go and train. The one thing that I've made sure I stay consistent is eating. My diet's been on point and training. Like I've not missed a training session. The only thing I'd say is sort of getting back on the cardio and stuff like that. But like in terms of like the weights, and I've still been doing it.
That's non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable. And and I think if I hadn't have done that, then the way I would have been feeling is a lot worse. But I've been there, failed a few times. Like you just gotta stay with it.
So you was in shape at 18. How old are you now?
28.
So it's like 10 years there of you going up and down and not getting to the place that you wanted to get to. Would you say just now you've got mentorship and help, like, would you say that's just the quickest way to go and solve your problem?
Yeah, I'd say for anyone who's like, I think there'll be probably people watching this now, or, people who experience the same. Deep down, they know what the best route is. They know that, yes, you can do it on your own, but I think from what I've learned and like the process, the training, the diet, like you need someone like yourself who knows exactly what they're doing, who can hold you accountable, who can see the changes where you can't necessarily see them. Yeah. For example, when I thought I've got to get back into a load of fitness, and then if I did that, I wouldn't have lost as much as I did by just going doing walking or whatever. Like, you need someone to actually guide you through that. And when I think most people are like, seem to be, they just don't think it's worth paying for it.
The money.
And it's, for me, it's like the most crazy thing. I think it's some of the best money that I've spent in the last fucking 6 months or years. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's nothing like to pay for the coaching when you get what you get out of it. Yeah. And you're going out on the weekend, you're gonna throw what you do in a month on that single night. It's
like, people will constantly prioritize other things, and they think they're paying for, a PDF training plan or diet. We're not just sending a program and you pay for that. You pay for how you feel right now.
Yeah.
Like, and is it worth the investment that you made compared to how you felt, to how you felt now, to how you feel now? Was that investment worth the outcome that you've got?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And I think even though I know what I'm doing, I think for me now, it's just about maintaining, because I've got a busy few months, holding myself accountable. Then, probably back end of the year, I want to put on a bit of size. Could I do that on my own? But do I want to do it? Do I want the guidance from someone who knows exactly what they're doing?
Yeah.
So I will come back and use you again. And I think that says a lot, because, you've taught me, I know about food a lot more. I know about how to train, but there's still something about like, you could always be better at it. Yeah. And for me, it's like you said, then a lot of people don't probably see the value in it. And maybe that's because their experience in previous coaches, or maybe what they've seen from PTs at the gym is, they just come in, you turn up, you get it done, but with you guys, there's a big difference. It's extremely tailored. Yeah. It's extremely thorough. The check-ins, the videos, the little tweaks and changes on a week by week basis, the different training programs. There's like, it's the best investment. Investing in yourself is the best money you can spend.
100%. I just think always, you don't know what you don't know. So you're saying I know how to bulk, but you don't know what you don't know. So like you can't say that I know everything, because you're unaware of the other things that all factor into this building phase. So people will do the same with the diet. Like, you think you know everything, and it's only because you don't know what education's missing, because you haven't been exposed to that yet. So it's like you've got to be exposed to that world. And the best thing for me, and I've still got a coach. I've had a coach the last 3-4 years straight without not missed a month's payment, or I've paid the year up front, whatever it may be. I've also got a business mentor for the last 3-4 years, because I don't know what information I don't know. So I need someone to tell me when I face that problem. And that has fast-tracked me personally in my life. And it's like,
best investment you've ever done.
But it's very, very hard to convince people who don't want to diet, who think it's going to be a hoax, who think it's not going to work, that listen, you come in here, it's guaranteed success. It is going to work if you are truly in pain and want to change.
Yeah, I think there's people who will sign up knowing deep down they're going to quit, and you've probably experienced a ton of them, and you know who these people are, and you know, I think it's all dependent on mindset. Like, do you really want to make the change? Do you understand what that's going to take? And because it's a hard route, you've got to give up on a lot of things. You've got to stay consistent. You've got to put yourself through the pain of training sometimes, of turning up when you really don't want to. When you've had a bad day and everything else has gone wrong, you still got to show up. And most people just don't have that in them, or they don't think they're having it. I think anyone can have that, but it takes a real mindset shift to be able to do those things. And ultimately, I think when I look at the world now, is you've got to be patient, and we have everything at our fingertips. So we're a lazy generation, we're an impatient generation, where everyone wants everything now. So when they see something which is so long away, and I think there's something with goals, right? So people set a 5 or 10 year goal. Most people won't ever achieve that, not because it's unachievable, it's because they don't understand what they need to do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. And in fact, you told me about this book, and I already bought it. I think it's Cal Newport, The One Thing.
Yeah. The One
and
Thing,
when you break it down, it's like, what's the one thing that I can do today
to move the needle forward?
What's the one thing I can do this week? And I think that is like, okay, so if I put that into perspective of training, what's the one thing I can do today? Yeah. Well, it's eat 100% what my diet is and train exactly what I should do. Yeah. Now I'm closer to that specific goal. Yeah. So when you build in these daily accomplishments and achievements, that sort of goal gets moved like a lot closer. And that's something I think that you sort of embedded into the program and sort of made me realize as well.
Yeah, 100%. I don't see it as like, let's say you're doing a 6-month diet. I don't see it as a 6-month war. I see it as, a 150 days worth of battles, and just win today's battle. I might lose the odd one or two, but if I win the majority battles, then I'm going to get in a decent, even if I get 70% of my goal, I'm going to be fucking buzzing. Do you know what I mean? So, right, Ross, that was brilliant. Thank you for listening, guys. Hopefully you've took inspiration from Ross. He's absolutely smashed it. His pictures will be in the bio, and you can also find it on the Winning Fitness page. If you want a breakdown of how we helped Ross, I've got it on a full document of what we did, how we approached it, and how we can implement that with you. If you want that, just message your word Ross, and I'll get back to you. And other than that, peace out.